Hello guys, Arkan here. I just want to take some time to tell you guys that we have a Patreon set up for the channel. It's an additional way you can support us. So I will put the link in the YouTube cards and in the description. Thanks for checking it out and I hope you enjoyed the video. I've never seen this many buildings in my life. This is unlike anything my country boy butt has ever seen. I make my way to the city center and I have to admit, it's a very beautiful place. There is a large monument in the center, surrounded by giant patches of flowers, a fountain, and benches. Roaming the main streets, the scenery is striking. Modern architecture, high-end cars, sophisticated shop fronts surround me. This is just what I needed. Coming from a village, to end up in a place like this. I don't want to get lost here. Thanks for inventing the navigator. I entered the address of the academy in the search bar, and after a couple of seconds, it shows me the route. As I thought, it's not too far. Only about 2 kilometers. It's hard not to notice stores dedicated to magical artifacts. Amulets and bracelets. Now that I think of it, it was probably a bad idea to turn down Hedwig and Gabriel. I could use a tour of the city. I'll ask them about it soon. From how they talked, I think they've already been to Kreikos, so I could definitely use their help to get around. With these thoughts flowing through my mind and answers to myself, I finally came to the academy. It's the biggest building I've ever seen in my life. In contrast to the city, the academy looks very old. Rustic structures and architecture make up the refined halls of the school. The smell of old wood and books hit me. But it's not that bad. It's impressive how such an old structure is kept looking so immaculate. A large wooden front door greets me. As I approach it, it swings open, inviting me inside. That was unexpected. I've visited some huge buildings before, but with this one, something's off. As I walk inside the academy, the mood changes. I notice that there are several people in the lobby, chatting peacefully about something. No one seems to mind me, so I give myself a little time to look around. The lobby is quite large. Right in front of me, some 10 meters away, is a large staircase, forking to the left and to the right. A large alarm clock is attached to the ceiling. Several lit white candles adorn it, not seeming to melt. Not far from the center are tables and couches where other students are sitting idly. I walk around a bit and stumble upon what looks like a reception desk. I tap on the counter bell and I notice a sleeping girl right on the desk. I notice a nameplate on the desk with Roberta written on it. I ring the bell a few more times and cough. She almost jumps out from her seat. Yes? What do you need? I instantly notice the dark circles around her eyes. Poor girl, must be overworked. Hello, sorry to wake you up. Behind her are several cabinets filled with various things. A large bookcase, the shelves of which are almost bursting with books. I didn't even see the curtains that cover this room right away at first. This place looks like a very ordinary college, nothing magical or bizarre happenings, so far. Roberta laughs nervously and pushes her own documents off the table. Sorry you had to see that. I'm going to die with all the new students coming to enroll. I can imagine. I don't really know what else to say to that. They must be understaffed. The start of new semesters must be grueling for her. The girl looks kind, but clearly tired. Doesn't she sleep at night? She types something on her keyboard, then asks, What is your name? I freeze for a second, forgetting who I was. Hooji, from Krole. She types the information in the computer. I wait for a response. I decide to break the ice with an innocuous question. It's too awkward. How many students are coming this year? Roberta doesn't answer immediately. More than I would like. Yep, this place is overworked and understaffed. I wonder how she does it. Looking around, I see the students all wearing casual clothes, no uniform in sight, which I'm glad for. You're already enrolled in the course. Okay, do you prefer a single or a double room? I answer without much thought. A single room, please. I don't really want to share a room with someone I don't know. What if he doesn't shower? What should I do then? Not to mention the possibility of them not liking my guts, which would make the whole school year. I look around once more while Roberta finishes the paperwork. Nothing interesting is happening. Well, except for the big line forming behind me. Everyone is dressed very casually, just like me, quite out of place for a magical college like this one, if I do say so myself. Two people are talking about potions. What root do you... Oh yeah, that's perfect for a charm potion, and... Potions are one of the most basic forms of magic that I know of, and I have no idea what they are saying. I'm starting to feel like I'm out of touch. Hopefully I can just follow the recipes in that class. We certainly had potions classes at school back home, but... For the life of me, I could never follow the recipes. My mom once tried to teach me by making me do compoda for my classmates. What a fun time that was. Everyone was scrambling to the bathroom and throwing up fountains was an interesting sight. I immediately felt sick at the thought of it. The secretary puts something down again and leans over to the lockers. Roberta sighs heavily and does a facepalm. I'm sorry, but the room keys won't be available until after lunch. Oh, that's not a problem. Can I leave my stuff here? The receptionist rubs her forehead and sighs heavily. Sure. I walk to the right side of the counter and put my bag and backpack there. We're almost done. Give me your documents. I hand her my file folder. Suddenly, I hear a loud gasp behind me and... Roberta quickly snatches the paper out of my hand. I hear heavy footsteps getting closer and closer, coming right towards me. I turn around reflexively. Oh, what is... what is happening? Stomp, 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 stomp. I turn around reflexively. Hooji! A big figure smashes into me, barely keeping my balance by gripping the side of the desk. Haha, it's been way too long, man. I'm shocked. Is it really him? Vilmar, this is a really bad time for your shenanigans. Look at the line. Vilmar lets out a hearty laugh and relaxes his tight hug. I'm sorry, Roberta. I catch a glimpse of the secretary cat, gesturing to us that we're free to go. Such patience. I could never. I'm still in disbelief. After all this time, is it really him? Dude, you scared half the academy with your ruckus. Some things will never change, I guess. We both start giggling. And I punch him right in the stomach. He hunches over in pain, clearly not expecting this. Oh, what the fuck was that for? You deserve it, you asshole. I rub my fist, trying to hide the pain from hitting his rock-hard abs. I haven't heard from you in over 3 years. I thought something bad had happened to you. He looks away and hangs his head in shame. Well, if you put it that way. He smiles, but I scowl at him. Taking a good look at my old friend, he's got quite the fit body now. Or perhaps it's the comically tight clothes he wears. Nonetheless, his fluffy dotted fur is still present. I'm aware there is no dress code, but does he really have to wear that? I swallow nervously. A few students are staring at this point. I won't let you go again until you find a good enough excuse for missing me. He looks down at me. That's a corny thing to say in public, but I don't care. I sigh heavily and shake my head, looking at him from under my brows. I was very worried. He chuckles and throws up his hands. Well, some things will probably never change, right? Do you want to get punched again? Vilmar's ears go flat against his head, throwing out his paws defensively. All right, I'm sorry. I look at the corner of the room and then back at Vilmar. I'm serious. I demand to hear the full story. I've known you long enough to know there had to be a reason for you to leave like that without telling me. I know sometimes friends drift away, but this was not it. Roberta is already completely taken over by the other students. She was quite fast at her job. I have a lot of questions for Vilmar. For as long as I can remember, he was always such a softy, shy person. A true nature enthusiast, always taking long walks in the forest, chasing butterflies with his big burly body. Hey, come with me! What? He grabs my paw tightly. He drags me through some corridors. I can barely keep up with his pace. What's the hurry? The leopard laughs maliciously, turning to me for a split second without slowing down. I want to show you something. We went through the corridors for about 15 seconds, coming to a dead end. We ran all the way here for a wall? It looks like an ordinary brick wall. Vilmar sighs resentfully and rubs his paws together. Oh, I get it. This is payback for me punching him. Is he chucking me out the window with a spell or something? Look, this is clearly a place you'd like to visit sooner or later. Vilmar places his paw to the wall, glowing a bright light hue for a second. He slowly removes his paw from the wall. That's it? Suddenly, the bricks start collapsing into each other until they are no longer present, leaving behind a passage. I look over his shoulder and see a huge tree, and behind it, bookshelves? We walk slowly through a small archway and enter a room that looks like an archive of some sort. The snow leopard stops in the center and begins to spread out. I remember that you're a bit of a bookworm, so I thought you might want to come here from time to time. A library? Exactly. You'll eventually get to know this place, so might as well give you a small tour. It's very endearing that he remembers my hobbies after all this time. Given I had no TV to watch for most of my childhood, books were my go-to pastime. Vilmar often invited me to visit him, and we would watch something at his place. What pleasant memories. Here you can prepare and study for exams and consult any books you need, like you do in a library. Also, every Saturday outside of pairs, students gather to have some sparring sessions. That sounds tempting. I'll have to tell Gabriel and Hedvig about it later, if they don't already know. Vilmar starts walking towards the giant tree. I just got here, man. I don't really know anything, so give me some time to digest all of this. He stops for a second, thinks about something, and continues walking. Well, you won't have much time to get used to it. This academy is one of the top magic schools, so they expect us to adapt quickly to their expectations. As such, we must be prepared to meet their expectations as students of this prestigious establishment. Vilmar declares in a serious, mocking tone as we finally arrive at the supposed library. So much for elite schools. I only saw a single secretary at the desk. A fair point, I think. He just smiles broadly and doesn't say anything about it. Is Roberta really doing so well in her duties that she's being left alone with the entire academy? Anyway, I'll have a chance to talk to her again later. She's obviously going to tell me more than this stupid smiling leopard. Anyway, this place lives up to my expectations of a magical academy. The library is shaped like a circle, with a huge tree growing in the center. The end of its foliage cannot be seen. Huge tree roots permeate the entire floor, weaving seamlessly into the library's aisles and bookshelves. It seems like this place is about to fall apart, but something tells me it's been that way for centuries. The allure of the tree makes you want to come here and ponder all sorts of things. This is so cool! Vilmar's broad grin is visible from a mile away. He gives me a little time to look around. I see wooden signs with the names of departments. I see a few students making the books levitate, guiding them towards their arms. Wingardium Leviosa! Others levitate themselves. This place is full of surprises. Am I right in assuming that you never learned how to cast a spell? I scratch the back of my head in embarrassment, looking away. I don't want to embarrass myself, but he can smell my lies right away. Yes, we weren't taught at school, and what my parents taught me is clearly not suited for a combat academy. I can't blame them. I grew up in the country, so battle magic wasn't really useful. The academy accepted my enrollment without entrance exams and promised to teach everything. But it is a fact that I am quite weak. Vilmar looks me up and down and sighs heavily. You're not too scrawny, but you can definitely use a gym membership. Ever heard of don't kick someone while they're down? The leopard laughs at my reaction and ruffles the fur on my head. I push his big paw off and he puts his hands out in surrender. Alright, I get it. No more fur ruffling. Do you want to sit here a little longer? I don't answer right away. This place is certainly beautiful, even mystical. It seems like a very pleasant place to study. It is somewhat reminiscent of gatherings by the river in early spring, when the snow is just coming off the grass. You should have a look around or go back to the hall. Let's explore. You should have a look around. I want to explore some more, so we stay a little longer. I walk a short distance away from the leopard and start looking at the bookcases closely. I touch the cabinet and my hand slides across the wood. Everything feels very smooth, as if it was covered with wood varnish. Bushes are scattered organically around the room, as if this place was built not by people, but by nature itself. This place looks so natural that it even makes you feel a little uneasy. I can see a small crowd of people up ahead. They whisper to each other. The no speaking in the library rule seems to be in place, even here. Looking back at the bookshelves, I wondered. These bookshelves rise straight up, all the way into the tree's canopy. Is there a restricted section here? This question bothers me, so I decide to ask Vilmar, who is standing pretending to read a book with a diligent look on his face. Hey Vilmar, is there some sort of restricted section? Vilmar looks slowly from the book to me, his eyes narrowing. Why do you ask? Just curious. I want to learn as much as I can. It is my first time, after all. There is, but it is not located here. You will only get access in your second or third year. Should I sneak in? Vilmar grins and rolls his eyes. Don't even think about it. I was hoping that he would take me there, but I guess I'm still the troublemaker in our group. I'm not one to steal ancient magical grimoires, but I'm interested in them. I sigh in disappointment. I take one last look around the mystical library and tell Vilmar that I'm ready to head back. Let's go back to the hall. Sure. Walking along the passage back, I see his tail wagging merrily behind him. Although my legs are still a little worn from that run, I should really take up some workout routines. That was a nice walk. God, you have no idea how happy I am that you're here. This place can be pretty damn boring. I immediately remember Gabriel's gossip about the academy being a boarding school. But I decided to keep quiet about it, for now. Back in the hall, I turned my attention to Roberta. There is already a decent queue behind the desk. You seem to know Roberta well. How does she deal with all of this? Vilmar looks at me, confused. Well, she looks like she's about to pass out. Is she the only one working here? The leopard's tail twitches a couple of times while thinking. As far as I can remember, yeah? Roberta is very good at her job. I look in her direction. She smiles and winks at both of us. That's cute. We sit and make small talk for a while until a lion comes up to us. His presence alone makes me uneasy. When Vilmar spots the lion, he immediately stands up to greet him. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Aster. How is your day going? Aster? Holy shit, he's the teacher Gabriel told me about. Crap, I need to make a good first impression. Hello to you too, Vilmar. It's going pretty good. His eyes immediately fall on me. He has a penetrating gaze, like someone's cold hands are gripping my neck intently, giving me goosebumps. Come on, you can imagine yourself without anyone's help. Good afternoon, Mr. Aster. I'm a freshman. My name is Hooji. Nice to meet you. Well, now if I get expelled, I can admit that it's entirely my fault. Trembling and stuttering my words, what a way to fumble my... Hooji, you say? I'm Aster, the spellcasting teacher. Be prepared, Hooji. Very few people pass my class on their first try. This is a disaster. Just like that, he's already writing me off? I didn't even have time to mentally prepare for this. I was really hoping Gabriel's rumors were just simple rumors. Vilmar, tell him something. Why the hell are you standing here smiling like a jackass? I stare him down, my eyes pleading for some help. Help me! Come on, Mr. Aster. Hooji is a very capable guy. Don't doubt him. I'll look after him. That was the worst thing he could have said. I can't even do magic and you tell him I'll do just fine? I do my best to contain these feelings, keeping my poker face as Mr. Aster ponders his words. Mr. Aster glares at Vilmar for a moment. Anyway, Vilmar, I'll see you in my office tomorrow afternoon. He clears his throat and continues. Oh, Hooji, one more thing. If I'm not mistaken, you're in my class, so please don't be late for your first lecture tomorrow morning. I just nod nervously, my eyes bulging. Oh, I'm not sure I'll be able to make it to your place tomorrow afternoon. I have a potion test. As if flipping a switch, the lion's face instantly frowns. He's not happy. It's a look that disarms you, leaving you vulnerable and scared, like a little puppy. Vilmar, it's not up to me to settle such matters. It's up to you. Are you insinuating a mere potion exam is a more important matter than our meeting? I'll see how our ladles of toad soup and plants will help you fight off a monster. Are you hoping that you can buy him off with food? I'm afraid only a roast with a couple of your limbs would suffice. He's going off on Vilmar. They must have some history. Vilmar immediately starts to stutter. Mr. Aster, what are you talking about? Of course I don't think so. Expect me tomorrow afternoon. Aster grunts contentedly. Good. The teacher isn't one for small talk, as he leaves without saying another word. I rub my hands together nervously. I glare furiously at this worthless leopard, imagining how I will break his windpipe in my hands and he will writhe like a swatted fly. I hold back my anger and take a deep breath. Vilmar starts with the excuses. He clears his throat. I know what you're thinking right now. But I promise Mr. Aster isn't a bad teacher. A lot of students aren't fond of his methods, but that's only because they don't try to get to know him a bit better. Not very convincing, but I'll take it. But one desire remains unchanged. You're not very good at stopping me from wanting to break your windpipe. Vilmar starts laughing, and I try to hit him as hard as I can. But once again, I end up hurting myself more than him as my hands hit his rock-hard muscles. Stupid cat. Gah! You've set me up for failure. Now I have to live to his expectations. Vilmar scratches his head and thinks. Come on, I'm sure you can handle it. I better, for your sake. I'm distracted by a loud thud sound somewhere nearby. One of the students, distracted, planted his muzzle right into one of the pillars. Painfully. And so, while we have a little time, do you have any questions? Are students hitting the poles here every day? Apparently yes. I think about it. Of course there are, and there are a lot of them. The only question is what he can answer, and if he's going to do it at all. There are several of them. I clear my throat as we sit down on one of the couches in the main hall. How does the training itself work here? Vilmar looks away. By now you should know what they teach here, to fight with magical weapons. Spellcasting isn't as valued as your fighting prowess here. Magic only adds variety to the match and allows you to conjure strategies to win, but at the end of the day, your physical ability and technique decides the outcome. An awkward silence seeps in as I process his words. I knew that, obviously. After all, I did apply here myself. After a few seconds, I ask again. What exactly do you fight with? Do we get to choose our own weapon? The leopard grins. My questions clearly sound ridiculous, but I'm used to having a little more information than the others. Mr. Aster will tell you and show you how to summon signature weapons. He slowly runs the finger of one paw along the palm of the other. Signature weapons have better qualities than conventional ones. Let's say, it is capable of realizing your power much more than the others. The next question comes naturally to me. What weapon do you use? Vilmar gives an embarrassed grin and looks away. I'd rather not cross our swords in such an unfair fight, but... Hey! I'm not as weak as you think. My father taught me for a reason, you know. Vilmar chuckles. My father may not have been a master swordsman, but he taught me as best as he could. I know it can't compare to the years of training Vilmar has done, but still, I won't let you belittle my father's work. Calm down, I'm just kidding. If someone hadn't disappeared without warning for 3 years, I might have been in better shape than I am now. Vilmar's face immediately becomes upset. I won't stop pestering him about this until he tells me. He sighs heavily. His tail immediately dips into his lap as we sit. He often did this when the conversation wasn't the most pleasant, if I remember correctly. I know you're mad at me, but give me a little time to explain everything to you the way it is. Those words make me uneasy. I know he must have a good reason, but to think it affected him as much as me... I'm sorry, that was mean. He just grunts. Oh, Hooji, you beauty. You've once again killed the mood. Some things never change. I'm not sure what to say or do, so we just sit in silence with him for a while. At the same time, I begin to realize how hungry I am. In the morning, I only ate a single sandwich before taking the train. It's already past noon. I've heard good things about this school's cafeteria. As a last resort, there are a couple of restaurants around the city. I need to keep in mind the budget too, which isn't too great. The sudden movement catches my eye. He gets up from the couch. He has a familiar smile on his face, as if the unpleasant conversation never happened at all. Okay, maybe some error happened? Let's go ask Roberta if the keys to your room have arrived yet. Sounds like a good enough idea. Not to be nosy, but what are you doing in your room after? Vilmar's mouth hangs open for a second. I want to finish my potions test. It's not very complicated. It will only take an hour, I hope. In the meantime, you can settle down and unpack your things in your room. What do you say? It doesn't sound so bad. That's fine by me. We approach Roberta's desk. She pushes up her glasses and glares at Vilmar. What do you want, Vilmar? She narrows her eyes as she says this. Is the entire academy staff out for blood? Or maybe it's just how everyone feels about Vilmar. He must have quite the reputation here. Vilmar starts stuttering again. Apparently, he sensed Roberta's tone well enough. Not me, but Hooji. He glanced at me briefly. We wanted to know if you've gotten his room key yet? You know how it is. Freshmen, they still have a lot to learn. Vilmar smiles at me awkwardly and elbows by my side. Roberta's loud sigh startles us both. Vilmar is suddenly very skittish, twitching at every move Roberta makes. Incredible, a 2.2 meters snow leopard, afraid of some rustling. Hooji, yes, the keys are here. She opens a drawer and quickly scans its contents. When she finds the right key, she deftly takes it and puts it in my paw. She's still looking at Vilmar with some disbelief. And so, Hooji, your room is number 69, second floor, right wing. Vilmar lets out a small giggle when he hears the room number. Dude, how old are you? 12? Roberta scowls at Vilmar, who immediately falls silent. Looks like the academy has trained this cheeky cat well enough. Rules of conduct in the dorm will be attached to the door. Bed linen is changed the 1st and 14th day of the month. If you have any questions, you can always come down to my desk and ask me. The cat finishes her speech as I take the keys. We step to the lockers to take out our bags. Vilmar takes both heavy bags and carries them without issue. What a gentleman. Thank you very much, Roberta. We'll leave now. Sorry to bother you. Roberta smiles knowingly and we both walk for the stairs, heading up to the 2nd floor. As we walk to my room, a thought occurs to me. I've been nothing but rude to Vilmar so far. He's been out of my life for so long. A lot of things have changed. But still... Vilmar, I'm really sorry that I acted like that. He gives me a shy smile. It's alright, Hooji. You have every right to be mad and ask questions. If you say so. We walk down the hall and come to my dorm's door. I grab the key from my pocket and insert it into the lock. After 2 turns, the door opens with a slight creak. I turn to Vilmar. Well, welcome to the academy, Hooji. I hope you enjoy your time here. Vilmar places my bag by the entrance. His tail sweeps the corridor floor nervously. Of course, and thank you for helping me carry the bag. You're welcome. My stomach starts to rumble, which obviously gets the snow leopard's attention. Oh, right, it's almost lunchtime. I'll get you something after my exam. Hang tight. I try to decline his offer, only for the door to be closed in my face. It's useless to argue with him. He always does what he wants. Stubborn cats. I open the door and yell. See you soon. Vilmar goes down the hall towards the stairs. I wave back at him. Alas, I'm all alone. I grab my things and drag them to my room. I go to my room. Closing the door with my tail, I set my bags on the floor and admire my humble abode. This is my home now, at least the time being. A little dusty, but nothing a nice sweep can't fix. Luckily, I'm not allergic to it. The room looks sparse. I took quite a lot of things from home. Maybe I can get this room looking more lively. Walking around the small room, I take in the space and the few furniture the academy left for me. In theory, I have everything I need. A wardrobe, nightstand, bed, even a small storage rack. There's a window on the back. I can't help but open it and look outside. The view is somewhat interesting. A small park and an overview of a section of the city, and beyond it the city itself. I sigh heavily as I think about what I should do next. Firstly, unpacking. Picking up my bags, I shove them in the storage rack to start taking things out. You see, this is no common bag. She is bottomless. As much as you want to put things in, its size and weight stay the same. There is some special formula for calculating its weight. But no one really cares about that. As long as it works, that's all you need to know. I got it from my mother, as a gift from one of her many business trips. Even though it's old, these bags always cost a pretty penny. I start pulling my belongings from the endless void. It takes me around 40 minutes. During this time, I managed to get everything I needed and put it in its place. In the meantime, I got a couple of messages from Gabriel and Hadwig. We agreed to meet tomorrow morning before the first period, at the office. I'll have to ask Vilmar where that is. I should ask Roberta for some sort of map of the school, so I don't need Vilmar to get around. In any case, there is still plenty of time for that. Looking around the room once more, it's not so depressing anymore. While I did do some unpacking, some of the things still lay on the floor, unorganized. I even found a large blackboard and some chalk under the bed. Out of boredom, I start sketching random doodles on it. Vilmar should be done soon with his exam. As if on cue, there was a knock on my door. A voice followed the knock. It's me. I opened the door and let him into my room. Wow, you've already arranged everything here. Very cozy. It didn't take that long. I sit down on my bed. Only now do I notice the lack of chairs or tables in the room. Strange. Vilmar looks around the room. Oh, it's a poster from Elric's Weekdays. The pink poster is hanging next to my bed. We laugh together. Back in high school, we used to watch this show a lot. Back then, our parents were good friends. Back then, Vilmar didn't leave me of his own accord. I just know it. We completely lost contact with them. For a long time, I couldn't understand what had happened. And yet, fate has brought us together again. And yet, he still can't tell me the reason. What are you thinking about? Vilmar says calmly, clearly noticing my sour face. The same thing since I first saw you. He doesn't say anything. He just looks away. He sits down next to me. His tail sits idly on his lap. Just give me a minute, and I will tell you everything. My pupils dilate immediately. We kind of need to talk, but, to start, I want you to know that moving away wasn't up to me at all. He stammers his words, his voice quivering slightly as he speaks with a slow stammer. I let him finish. You know my parents. Their status has always been more important than my relationship with them, or anyone. Even though I was already 18 by that time, My parents still controlled me in every possible way. They ordered for our move to be kept secret to everyone, including your family. A knot forms in my throat. It was as if all the air in the room had disappeared. I'm still just listening. In the end, everything worked out the way they wanted it to, as always. We moved, leaving the city and everyone behind. He pauses and says nothing more. Vilmar's family are an influential bunch in this country, from what little he told me. No wonder they made Vilmar bend to their wishes. And when I saw you, I knew you'd be worried, but I wanted to reconnect with you again. I missed you. I start to speak. I just don't get it. If it's not your fault, why did you think I'd be angry with you? He just looks away, not saying anything more to me. Who do you take me for? Vilmar grins. I may not be offended, but you hit it well. This is different. Ultimately, it's not as bad as I expected. But one thing worries me most. So, did you bring any food? I'm starving. Vilmar chuckles. I need something warm in my mouth. We sit on opposite sides of the bed. Vilmar holds his arm to one side and makes a strange motion. A few moments later, a small hole materializes out of thin air. Having a closer look, I can see the hole leads to another place, like a portal. The leopard puts his paw in and snatches out a large bag. A million delicious smells seep through my room, making me drool. Vilmar looks at me with a raised eyebrow and starts laughing. You look like you're eating for the first time in a week. I've been through a lot today, okay? Let me eat in peace. I move closer as Vilmar pulls everything out. Just so you know, I'm no cook, so you don't yell at me if you don't like something. I'm still learning. Are you going to give me something to eat or not? He lays everything out on my bed. There's about 5 different containers with different foods. I'm not too keen on eating on my bed, but my hunger can't wait. Besides, it's not like there's anywhere else we can eat here, but hunger is more important. That's a lot of food for 2 people, isn't it? What time is it? Vilmar looks at his watch. It's almost 5 p.m. Time flies quickly, however. On my bed is a container of salad, pasta, French fries, small pieces of steak, and a container of scrambled eggs. God, so much food. I guess this explains why you got so big. Vilmar chokes on his food. Hey, I'm not fat. You have no idea how tight this shirt is. Then just take it off. No one's making you wear that. I realize what I just said. This is not what I am. Vilmar starts laughing as loudly as possible. That's exactly what you wanted to say. We both laugh so hard we almost drop the food to the floor, catching it at the last memento. This led to another, but much longer, laughter session. Vilmar stays in my room. We reminisce about all the funny moments of our childhood, starting from elementary school, ending with our last days spent together. I can't say I'm angry with him. I'm happy to be able to spend time with him again. As sad as it sounds, I didn't have many friends in my homeland. Vilmar was the one I hung out with the most, and we lived very close to each other. We continued to catch up on everything that happened since he left. After a while, Vilmar says that he has to go. Well, it was good to chat. See you tomorrow. By the way, where is Aster's office? He told me to pay him a visit tomorrow before our first class, but he didn't name the office. Vilmar chuckles. Oh, it's on the first floor, right wing, office number 5. Thanks, good night. Oh, yeah. We stand awkwardly in the hall, close to each other. He ruffles the fur on my head and starts walking away. Night. We wave to each other. As I enter the room, I realize that it's already quite dark. I even have to turn on the lights. Not a very productive first day at the academy. I can't say if I'm feeling good or bad about it right now. I just feel extremely exhausted, emotionally and physically. But at the same time, I feel very free. I'm glad I already have a few people to hang out with. I like it here. I hope I get used to this place. I am very much looking forward to what will happen tomorrow. Even though I know the basics, that probably won't compare to the rest of the class. Thinking about it, I don't know Aster very well, but judging from our earlier encounter, it seems like he has his eyes on me. Aster seems to be quite an evil and stern teacher. I haven't quite decided how I should act around him yet. I need to mentally prepare for tomorrow's meeting with him. In the midst of these unintelligible thoughts, I crawl under the covers of the foreign bed. I look up, an unfamiliar ceiling. Loud steps can be heard from time to time outside my room. I'm not too surprised. This is a dorm, after all. Vilmar said there were also communal and private saunas. I should go there sometime. I still don't understand how I was able to enter this academy with everyone else. I start to drift off to sleep, staring at the moon through my window.